Hey everybody, it's time to start a new build. So, this is the infamous Gibson Robotuner build. Yeah, I know. I've been talking about it and it sounds cool and I can't wait to see those little tuning peg keys turning by themselves. It's going to be so cool. So, now for this video series, I'm going to try to ramble less. I've figured out how to clip stuff out with the video conversion software now, so I can clip out me rambling. But I'm also going to try to make this series heavy on theory, or I'll include theory, but I'm not going to film a lot of action. You know, if you want action, you can see people doing mundane guitar work tasks on a billion different channels. So here we're going to build something rather unique. Now, the parts have not come in for the triple tube carbon fiber neck yet, so we're not doing that on this thing. And since this is technically a prototype, I guess you would call it, I'm not going to use the Bubinga or the red oak or any of the other nicer woods, and I'm just going to execute the pine for now. I've got a blank out of 2x4 here. If that's not wide enough, I've got some 2x6. The table saw might not cut it, be big enough to cut it all the way through and split it into a blank, but it can, slot both sides, and then I can finish out the middle with a hand saw, and then, plane and sand and stuff like that. So yeah, if you want to see me using tools, go watch my teacher, Ben Crow, Crimson Guitars. If you want to hear me ramble on about designs and theories on guitar engineering, then stay tuned. Let's build something really cool. Alright, so I guess we're going to start with an unveiling. So I've got good results on the Strat stick with this pine stuff. It does not bend. It doesn't have any really totally whacked out tonal characteristics. It doesn't give you way too much treble or way too much bass or anything. It's bright. It's probably brighter at a lower frequency. Like I said, 2 kilohertz seems to be its resonant frequency kind of a thing. Whereas maple, I suspect, is brighter around 5. If you were to build something. Now, see, I've got flame maple too. And I actually, yeah, okay, it's time to ramble, but it's about theory. So I had this idea. I get pine, and I get Bubinga, and I get pine, Bubinga, just grab one out here. Plain maple. Smaller pieces, but I've also got red oak. Rather large piece of red oak, as you can see. find some way for it to like get in shot here and stay put. There we go. Stuck it through the legs of the table saw. So, okay. Let me think, do I have anything else? No, I think these are all the ones I have on hand that were worthy of testing. So the idea is I get on eBay and I get like, well, not this kind. I get, now I'm going to step over the red oak. Oops. Not supposed to press that button. Alright, there we go. Let's see. So you get something like, this thing's still filming? Yeah. Yeah, something like this. This is well, but in not in a rosewood. Rosewood costs a little more, and not in a skunk stripe. This is the one that was supposed to be a baritone, but it's not. It's just a regular. It's a nice regular. Maybe I'll put it on like the vintage Tilly or something that's got the stripe. But so the idea is you get like a $35 baseline fender type neck, right? And you get like 4 of them, okay? And then you get like 4 identical bridges and 4 identical pickups and 4 identical sets of tuners and stuff. And all just really baseline stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive or anything. I mean, it's like, you know, you're like $5 or $7, let's say, for a set of tuners. And you'd have 4 identical necks at $35 a piece, so that'd be, you'd be spending less than $150 to buy all the necks, to test them all. And then you know, you can just use baseline bridges of some sort. I mean, I've got enough nah, it'd probably be better to just buy identical bridges. So yeah, that's the basic idea, is that you buy identical bridges and identical pickups and identical necks, and then you use the 4 woods and you build 4 guitars and you see what the difference is in sound. Okay, so that's the basic idea for the wood tone test builds, or set of builds, where you'd make, you know, like 4 identical guitars with the same bridges, same pickups, same everything, and just baseline parts. And the only thing that would be different would be you'd use, you know, and I'm talking just, you know, take a neck and just bolt the stuff on and make sure it's all dimensionally the same size. It doesn't really have to be shaped or finished or anything like that, just so that you got the wood itself in order to see what's up, you know. So you'd end up with 4 planks. You wouldn't worry about swing bars or any of the rest of that jazz. It's just an experiment. Remember, experimental guitars, you only got to go until you have success or failure on your experiment you're trying. And then after that, you know, technically you're done with the build, unless it's cool enough to make it into a full build. So, but yeah, that was an idea for a set of test builds in order to test the impact of wood on the tone of the guitar. But that actually is on hold, as usual. All the cool stuff, I was almost not going to do this, but assuming the triple carbon tube fiber neck experiment works, then the Robotuner will eventually be getting a triple carbon fiber tube neck. And if I had the parts here, I'd be doing that right now instead of the Robotuner, but I don't really, I'm waiting on parts, so I'm trying to kill time basically. And I've got everything but the battery box for this, and everything but the battery box for guitar number 5, which is basically an X13 with a trans trim instead of an R-type trim. And the Robotuner seemed cooler, so I was like, if I'm going to spend time, might as well build the coolest thing I got. So let's try the Robotuner. So the Robotuner it is, and we're going to be using this kind of wood because all this stuff is like more expensive and such, and I'm starting from scratch, and this is going to be a one-off and a custom design, all that, and I'm gonna deep dive into all the design stuff. So get ready for lots of it. It's all going to be about millimeters. I can tell you right now, and it's all about millimeters. So let me get this wood out of the way, and then we're going to do some parts unboxing. Okay, so the Robotuner is going to be basically an X6, which is one of these no-head tail tuner types. This is the X6 here. Single swing bar, trapezoid. Doesn't have the thin heel net yet, but yeah, you know the drill. Okay, so basically it's going to be this guitar with a set of Gibson Robotuners down here. Now, because of the fact that you're going to have tuning keys sticking out on this side that might interfere with your leg, it's probably going to need a bar there, similar to, hold on, similar to the bar here on the Strat stick. And see, it's got this, turn around this way. Yeah, the leg bar here, and then this extension bar down here with the jack on the end, that forms your leg cutout right in this region here. And but because there's going to be, you know, a Robotuner back here. Wait a second, let me get this warning for them. Okay, so you're going to have a pickup, you're going to have a bridge. It's a roller TOM, and then you're going to have the Robotuners back here, like at the tail of the X6 there. But because of the fact that you're going to have some sticking out on this side, you're probably going to want a bar that's like outside of the tuners, down here somewhere, somehow, that's going to, you know, come out and guard them against them getting hit by your leg and throwing the guitar out of tune when you're playing while seated. So yeah, that's that's about the only modification I see necessary for the body, or the only consideration for the fact that it's going to be using the Robotuner instead of, like, you know, like a 6x R that actually, since they're upside down, puts it on the left side of the guitar away from your leg, on a right-handed guitar, of course. Everything I say is about a right-handed guitar, just flip it around and make a left-handed. There's nothing wrong with lefty guitars. My mom was a lefty. She was an incredibly talented concert level pianist. I grew up with a Steinway Grand in the living room when I was a kid. That's probably where I get my music bug from. From my dear old ma. So let's see here. Okay, so it's going to be an X6 thing with a Robotuner on the tail end. But I've also got all the electronics and gear and stuff to give it the X13 treatment, as far as like the kill button, the kill switch, the onboard EQ, and all that kind of cool stuff too. So yeah, that's basically the idea. So let me get this out of the way. So this is the neck, and it was basically selected for the figuring of the fingerboard, and then I suppose, unless this is not wide enough, which still has yet to be determined because I haven't actually drawn up with body design yet, I gotta measure everything out first. this is potentially the body blank. So, and then let's see, at the top end, it's going to get cut off and get the string through, leaving the shoulders so that you can have something to hang it on. And the lock nut, I was considering doing a Steinberger nut, which I suppose would, a Steinberger nut and a hanger bracket, but I didn't want to wait for the parts to show up, for the Steinberger nut to show up, even though I could probably get one within half a week off of Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead with the original battle plan of a string through up here, and then a Floyd rose here. And then for the frets, this thing's actually got kind of small frets on it, and they feel real nice already. So yeah, maybe just a little mild rolling for the edges. And then it's going to get the carve. It's going to get the plane first. First it gets, let me get it back in camera here. Okay, first it gets the plane down to 20 millimeter thickness. And then across the board, from one end to the other. The whole neck. And then it gets the carve down for the trapezoid. And I've got a new toy for that. Look at this puppy, man. This is basically a half round rasp in a circular form for a angle grinder. And this sucker is gonna eat some meat. Let me tell you, this should make quick work, and I can probably kick out a neck in like 10 or 15 minutes with this thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've actually been, trying to find something I could grind just to try it out. It's been here for 2 or 3 days now, and I'm itching. I might have to do that part live. Alright, so okay, so that's the neck, and that's the body blank. And then let's see, this pile here, we have the plan is to take this miniature 7-band spectrum analyzer that I originally got for the Star Wars guitar build, and the plan is to mount it in the depth pick guard so that when you turn the guitar on and it's running, you'll have a little spectrum analyzer readout of what's going down the cable in real time, which I thought would be just bad as hell. And of course it comes with batteries. So that's the spectrum analyzer. And then let's see, this is the letter opener. Look at this letter, that letter, this letter. Okay, so this puppy here that's the EQ. And this is the kill switch. Comes complete with a couple of guitar picks, and yeah, it's just a basic kill switch, man. A nice one. What do you think? Too small still? I mean, almost, the size of a button on an arcade machine seems to be sort of popular too, but I was thinking that this was like just about right. I mean, it's, the perfect size for your fingertip, so I don't know, maybe in the heat of battle you need something bigger. Leave a comment, as they say. Let us know. Improve the design. Alright, okay. This is the charger that I bought from the original equipment manufacturer direct from Germany. Because I got the Robotuner, but it had a battery, but it didn't have a charger. And so I found out who made the Robotuner. It's a company in Germany, and you can actually buy them direct from them. I bought my Robotuner used off of eBay for about $100. But anyway, that's the charger for it. Apparently the way it works is it's got little servos, I guess, in each of the tuning pegs, and then it's got a battery pack and a little microprocessor in the tuner, basically, or in the little central box that goes between the tuning pegs. And that brings us to the item in question itself, which is the actual Robotuner. This is it. And this is the box, and this is the plate, and then these are the contacts that contact the servo tuning pegs. And this thing's actually got a little electric motor in it, basically, is the way the thing works, apparently. Because this thing, yeah, this has an electric motor. There's the contacts between the motor. Come on, give me some light. There, okay, yeah. There's the contacts between the motor and the tuning peg. It's got contacts on it too. This camera so sucks. But yeah, there's a like a positive contact. That disc there. God damn it, all I get is glare and shadow. Great, forget it. But yeah, okay, so there's contacts on this thing, and there's contacts on this thing, and that's how the little brain box, this has a brain box and a battery, more or less. This is the way it seems to, from what I gather from the parts. And so yeah, so the battery powers these guys, and the little brain box tells them which way to turn. And that's more or less it, and then you get some little buttons in order to make it do whatever you want it to do. I'll have to, find the instructions online or something like that. So, yeah, and so there's the actual Robotuner and the individual tuning pegs. And I believe that's all that's in this box. Yeah, that's all that's in this box. So that's the Robotuner itself. And then for other parts, we got all this junk. We got case candy. We got a Tessie catalog. We got a Tessie sticker. We got Floyd Rose lock nut. We got a high output humbucker. Quad rail. I forget what color it is. It might be black. No, I think this one's black, and Guitar 5 got the lime colored one. So, yeah. And until we get a battery box, we've got these to work with. Is this in frame? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so until we get a battery box, we got these to work with. We can just rubber band the battery onto that bar that I was talking about. There's the on-off switch, the strap locks, roller TOM arch top bridge, strap, and I think that's everything except for the battery box itself. And and there's also this one that's already been fabbed up for a battery box, even though it's kind of looking rough. But so yeah, that's the parts unveiled. I don't think I forgot anything. obviously it'll get, let's see, it'll get a depth pick guard of some sort, probably out of, since it's got a kind of a black hardware theme going on, it'll probably be the black plastic for the depth pick guard, or I can always go, 1/4 inch ply and stain it to match. I haven't even decided what color to make it. Anybody has a suggestion, leave a comment. But let me think. What have I not done? I've never done an orange guitar. And I've never done a green guitar. And then I've got all that olive drab from when I was trying to darken the North Carolina cab. I ended up with almost a 1/4 gallon of dark olive drab wood stain. Yeah. Anybody want to build a dozen tank guitars? I've got the stain for it, so. But yeah, I have absolutely no idea what color to make this thing. Maybe the thing to do is go and look and see what I've got the most of and use up some of that. So. But anyway, yeah, enough rambling. It's time to start planning it out. Let's see. Well, I don't really have to do any planning because I already know the plan as far as like this stuff goes. I need to cut this thing off, preserving the shoulders. I need to put in some string through holes, and I need to plane it all down to 20 mil thick total, and then I need to use my new toy here, and I need to turn it into a trapezoid profile with a triangular heel, and then I need to take out the old nut and replace it with a Floyd Rose, which will require some shimming, and then drill the heel for the screws, or I might do, yeah, I can just do it that way. And then the neck will be ready. Oh, roll the fretboard edges and oil it. And actually, I suppose if the guitar is going to get finished, then I should also sand the finish off of all of the neck and sand headstock, or what's left of the headstock. So I can do all that before I even worry about drawing up the design for the body. But moving on to the design of the body, basically I'll take the distance from the nut to the end of the heel, not the fretboard, but the heel, because that more or less defines where my little triangular heel is going to be. And I'm going to have a matching triangle here at the end of the body blank, and then I take whatever the distance that is and subtract it from the scale length, and that's how far I need to come from here to get down to my saddle line. And once I've got my saddle line, the rest of it is easy. You can strike a center line, no problem. You can measure the width of everything to figure out whether you need more wood under there or whatever. I'll be able to look at the Robotuner here and see just how wide it is, and with the tuners and everything on it. Let's see, tuners go like that. So yeah, it's only going to be that wide. That's not bad, because that leaves, is this in camera? Let me get this more in camera. Okay, so Robotuner's only this wide. Yeah, they don't really stick out any further than the plate, the tuners, which means that you've got this much width, and you can do like triangular neck over on this side, saddle line, maybe some kind of hold down bar, and then the tuners, and that still leaves you this wood over here for your guard bar. But then again, if your tuners are sticking like this way, no, yeah, you're still going to need the guard bar because they're still going to be sticking out where your leg would go. So yeah, but yeah, you could probably get a wide enough blank, including a built-in guard bar, out of this thing without having to worry about 2x6 splitting 2x6. So that looks good. So yeah, I mean, that's, that right there tells me good enough what I need to know for a body plan, because these are all basically the same. You take a piece of wood and you strike your center line, you mark your stuff out, and then you cut accordingly, So I actually don't really tend to show too much of the body shaping and stuff. I've done one on how to do the trapezoid necks, so. But, I mean, as far as the triangular body goes, basically you measure the width of your heel right here, and the target that I'm using nowadays is 90 millimeters. You go 50 millimeter spacing on the screws, and then you got 10 millimeters of beef on this end, and then so that's 60 millimeters you've used so far, and then you use the other 30 millimeters for beef and for a taper on the end of the body. So yeah, nowadays I'm targeting a 90 millimeter heel length, and then whatever the stock width is, which is usually like 56 mil or something like that. And so you mark out a triangle that's 56 mil wide by 90 long. Sorry, going this way, triangle. And then you figure out where your saddle line is, and you put your parts on and figure out how wide the body has to be for each of these parts. These bodies actually could probably be a lot narrower than I make them, because you really only need to glue like the center of most of these parts onto the body, kind of a thing. So, or they can just float on a piece of the body that was only like a third inch wide. So maybe I'll do that on this one, is try to make the body as narrow this way as possible everywhere, within reason. I mean, it's like, you can get all sculpting and carving and stuff like that, but it makes each one take more time. So, and then it's a question of, what are you trying to do? I mean, I'd already thought about, if you look at, time for a digression in theory. If you look at this guy, I've already started thinking about ways that it could be improved aesthetically without changing it otherwise, such as you would take this thing and turn it into more of a triangle kind of a shape, with like these spacer bars in here, these little spacer cubes. These could be shaped in order to be a little like extension of the bar kind of a thing, or extension of the body kind of a thing. So yeah, small details like that would make it look a lot casher, basically. But they do take time. But then again, I've got a new toy for ripping out that kind of sculpty stuff real quick. So something to think about. See, the problem is, here's one of my major problems, is that being a lifelong engineer and working on a device, I naturally think in terms of mass production, because that's the way engineers are taught. That's the way we're taught to design stuff. We're taught to design stuff so that it's cheap and easy to build. And doing carby like that is not easy to build. That's the reason why I just use a little square block here. It gets the job done, and it doesn't have a whole lot of like excessive labor costs for nothing but aesthetic, which really changes the performance by zero. So yeah. So if you're talking like, you know, cheap and easy to build, and this is all square, and that's all square, and that's all square, and if you're going for something aesthetic, then, you know, everything gets carved down and sloped out and all super cool and stuff. But yeah, okay, so that's that digression. I might try something on that, like that on this. I think I might try something on how narrow the body can be, because I've never really tried that. Usually I'll just like say, okay, here's my blank. It needs to be this wide. It doesn't need to be that wide at that end. Okay, shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Boom, there's your body. That's the approach I've been taking. So, but you don't really need, you know, all that wood in there for all that. All you need is enough wood for strength, which is probably, you know, maybe something like this out of the middle, kind of a thing. Because, well, let me think. The Stick 1, my very, very first experimental guitar, it was thicker than this, just barely, and it was more or less the same material. It was made from a furring strip, and it was about this wide, almost exactly. And yeah, if you see this line right here, yeah, it was almost exactly that wide. And as I recall, it had ever slight bowing issues, but of course the guitar had all these it had individually adjustable saddles and the whole 9 yards, so it was highly adjustable. And yeah, actually everything was done with those brass pins that I used to hold in wires, and then little pieces of cable tie were cut up in order to make spacers for everything else, for like the saddles and the bridge and everything. They were all nylon, made out of cable tie. And so yeah, it was pine, brass, and nylon were the only 3 materials used in the build. And of course a cheap set of pot metal tuners up on the headstock. Alright, so I guess and then as far as the planning, the rest of the guitar goes, yeah, basically it's going to be kind of like it's going to be more or less like an X13, like the X11 that has the integrated bar, but it's not going to be a Steinberger, it's going to be this other kind of tailstock. So it'll be like the X11 or the X12 or the X13, and then it's got this little bar on the right, or also the Strat stick has that as well. So it's going to be one of these things. It's basically a triangle with a bar on the right down here, triangle, bar on the right, and tuners will be like, yeah, here somewhere. I might have to go wider for the bar, or might have to mount something on. So wait and see. Looks like the first step's going to be to make a neck for it. It'd be nice if I'd already done the triple carbon fiber tube neck build, and could just, like, you know know whether a trapezoid wood neck or the triple tube carbon fiber is the way to go. But for now, I only have the parts to execute the trapezoid wood neck, so I guess I'll be doing that. Gives me an excuse to try my new carving tool. Let me get set up. Well, that didn't take long. All I did was like grab the ruler. So, yeah, since this one's going to be long on theory and short on action, so the very first step is you need to get rid of this stuff. And it's real straightforward. We're just going to come from this point here to this point here and strike a line, and then we're going to go talk to Mr. Table Saw. I've never actually used the table saw for this before. I've used coping and jig, but never table, but why not? It could be the fastest method yet, and it should give adequate results. So, alright, there's cut line right there. Yeah, the top half of this thing is very dirty compared to the bottom half, but yeah, so there's my mark, and yeah, quality time table saw. Okay, so I thought about how I was going to cut this thing on the table, you know, whether I want to cut it this way, or this way, or this way, or what. And I think the way to go is I want to cut it this way. Strike a line across the back here, and then I put it up on a piece of wood, and I just freehand it that way. Freehand it that way, following this line, and that'll give me a nice vertical cut that's perpendicular to the direction of the headstock tilt here. So yeah, that'll lop it off nice and clean and straight, and everything should work. So yeah, let's do it that way. And I wasn't going to do any live action. Here we go, more live action. There, you just saw it, live action. Watch, somebody will still say, all talk, no action in the comments. Hey there, everybody. I'm your host, Norm, and welcome to another edition of Alcohol and Power Tools. Yeah, buddy. Oop, this is not plugged in. Aw, shoot. Cut. Take two. Hey, everybody. This is Norm, your host here on another edition of Alcohol and Power Tools. Yeah, buddy. Now, seriously, folks, never use power tools when you're drunk. I mean, you might cut off your fingers, then how are you going to hold your beer? Right? So, alright, let's do this. Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty clean cut, pretty straight. That'll do for government work. Bad news, looks like we got a little bit of chip off there, so, well, in the end this is all getting sanded off, and that'll just get sanded around. You never know it was there. Okay, string through holes. Shoot, I got it all set for close-up, and then I want to do a far-away shot. So if you look at the neck, you see that it's got this slope. It slopes up like this. So I'm thinking that the slick thing would be to have the shrink holes run parallel to this edge here instead of having them run horizontal. And it'd look a little cooler, I think. So I'm going to try that. Now, don't want them too close to this edge, and so like maybe halfway between these two, kind of a thing. Measure the distance between number 1 and number 6 slots, and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that gives you your spacing for up here, and that'll get you pretty much straight string pull through. Strike a center line, and then just move them out that far in each direction. You know, whatever your string, let's say it turns out to be 8, it'll be less than 8, it'll be 7 something, or it'll be 7 something probably. But yeah, let's say it was 8, then you strike your center line, you go out 4 each side, and that's where your number 3s and 4 holes go. And then you just keep going over 8. There's the rest of your holes. You strike a line this way, like 5 mil down, or you go halfway between here and here, and you measure the distance, and you take half of that, and then you measure that far down here and here. You strike a line that gets you the center line going this way, and then you got your where's that? Oh, stand. And then you got your spacing here, and so you just